Everyone, welcome to Leisrealtalk. Sorry for the delay. We're going to try something different today. For my live streams, I usually focus on one topic, but today we're going to focus on two. This is because as I was preparing to talk to you about Hong Kong's economy, I saw there has been update about the PLA's nuclear submarine accident. So I I said to myself, I have to give everyone an update since we've been talking about it. So we'll first talk about the PLA submarine incident or accident, and then we'll spend about 2/3 of today's time on Hong Kong's economy. All right, we'll see how that goes. Let me know, whether you like this format where I cover multiple topics that are not related. So first things first, the submarine accident. So we first heard about this on August the 22nd, and there was the post by a military expert, and he later removed this post. So that was on August 22nd, and then both Taiwan and China's Ministry of Defense refuted the rumors. Taiwan said that they didn't see anything that can verify the rumors. The Chinese, however, quoting Taiwan's defense ministry, saying that there wasn't a Navy accident in the Taiwan Strait. However, it didn't say if there was an accident in other waters. So in the past few days, social media posts have been circulating, and they're discussing family members of those on board the vessel because they didn't see their loved ones return from their mission. Hold on, let me show you the post. So basically, when these people, left for missions, they're not in contact with their family members, and they don't tell them where they went or where the mission or the exercise is. But the families were expecting them to return at the end of August. And they did tell them that they would return at the end of August or beginning of September. And that didn't happen. So now their family members got worried. So some have gone to the CMC, the Central Military Commission's headquarters in Beijing, trying to find out. I mean, they probably have already heard the rumors about the accident, so they're trying to find out if their loved ones were or are on that on that submarine. So, and then based on this post, it said that they did recover the bodies on the submarine, and they found out that after autopsy, they found that they were poisoned. They suffered from hydrogen sulfide poisoning. Okay, but they haven't found out. I think they did autopsies on 9 bodies, and that seemed to be the conclusion, that they suffered from this type of poisoning. That's according to this post. But then, what prompted me to do this segment, to give you an update, is today Taiwan's Ministry of Defense held a press conference in the morning to talk about its 112th National Defense Report. And the ministry's assistant undersecretary for intelligence, Rear Admiral Huang Wenqi, Huang Wenqi, answered or addressed media questions regarding the PLA submarine incidents. And I have the clip where he answered the questions, and I asked my editor to put in subtitles for you so you can watch this. Hold on, let me start from the very beginning. So here's his reply. Make this bigger.
这个有关于媒体报道有家属去抗议说潜舰官兵没有回家这件事情，我们不予评论。第二件事情有关于媒体报道说 中共的洞9-3型核动力攻击潜舰发生爆炸意外的这个事件。我要向各位报告的是，相关的讯息都必然属于极高度的绝对机密，因为相关的细节，国防部这边都会去做一个掌握。这个试射机密在这边不便透露。
Okay, so he basically reiterated that due to the sensitive nature or the classified nature of the matter, he cannot disclose anything there. So the media's interpretation is that the accident happened. Taiwan is aware of that, but they do not want to make any comment at this point, or do not want to say anything. So it sounds like he did not deny it. It sounds like it did happen. So a number of Taiwanese media came out with reports today, and it might be yesterday because they're 12 hours ahead of us. So I'm not quite sure if the date was actually Monday or Tuesday. But anyways, there's a online media called Up Media gave details of the accident, and it says that it occurred on August 20th when the submarine departing from its base in Qingdao was test firing an underwater weapon near the Yellow Sea, when a malfunction of the munition exploded in the launcher, causing the submarine to sink. And according to estimates, about 100 officers and men were on board, and all of them perished. Now, I want to point out, we've also heard reports that there were 55 people on board. So I don't know whether it's 55 or 100. And Taiwan's Liberty Times reported that a U.S. nuclear reconnaissance aircraft, WC-135, and it's numbered 6414831, had approached the coast of eastern China, citing information from flight tracking website, Flight Radar 24. The American aircraft went from Qingdao, Shandong province, and then it flew down into the East China Sea and passed the site where the submarine was rumored to be in trouble. Now, this WC-135 nuclear reconnaissance aircraft is nicknamed Constant Phoenix. It can detect the changes in the air and collect evidence of nuclear weapons testing. It's equipped with special filters and samplers capable of collecting radioactive microparticles in the atmosphere. Now, according to sources in Beijing, after the accident, the military, the PLA, launched a secret internal investigation and trying to find out who is responsible for that. And some of the political commissars of the war zones or of the theater commands believe that the accident was due to improper management and training, and demanded that Wang Dazhong, who is the deputy commander of the Northern Theater Command, who is also the Navy commander of the Northern Theater Command, demanded that he should take the responsibility for the accident. So that's what I have heard today, and I just want to give you an update. I think it looks like the accident is real. It did happen, and it happened in the Yellow Sea. As far as how many people, what was the actual number of casualties, we don't know. We've heard from 55 to 100, and I think it's just I think it did happen around the 20th of August, right? So it has been 3 weeks now, more than 3 weeks. I really feel sorry for the family members who still don't know if they have lost a family member, and that just gives you, that just shows you how CCP has no respect for human life, and and people's have no respect for people's feelings. What it's concerned most is its politics. So that's what I know for the PLA nuclear submarine incident. All right, let's switch subject and talk about Hong Kong's economy. Recently, we've seen the flood in southern China, particularly in Shenzhen, right? And due to people say due to similar scenarios that we've seen in Hebei and other parts of China, where the local regime, the local government, discharged water from dams, from reservoirs, and without enough advance warning. I think they advanced releasing water like 20 minutes before it actually happened, 20 minutes before they actually released the water. And it was in the middle of the night. So people didn't have any time to prepare, to evacuate. So, and parts of Hong Kong was severely flooded. And when I saw the footage and the pictures, it was hard to believe that, the biggest financial center in Asia is flooded just like that overnight, you know. So, and a viewer asked me for my opinion about his real estate in Hong Kong. So all of that had made me want to talk about Hong Kong's economy, because the city has played an extremely important role in China's economy in the past decades. It's the gateway between the mainland and the West. So, for example, 70% of foreign investments that went into China went through Hong Kong. So let me share you a slide that I put together. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, here we go. Yeah. So this one, it shows total foreign investments into mainland, and how much Hong Kong investment, how much of that was made in the form of investment from Hong Kong. And so you see the percentage. In 2007, it was only around 40%. But it went all the way up to almost 80% in 2019. It has remained well over 70%. So that just shows you the important role Hong Kong has played, sort of as a gateway between the West and China. But its economy is sinking fast, as Hong Kong is becoming more and more like mainland China. So today I'll just talk about 4 reasons, or 4 contributing factors that we should be concerned about with Hong Kong's economy. The first one is real estate. Hong Kong, very similar to mainland, the real estate industry plays an extremely important role in Hong Kong's economy. So how much weight does it carry? Well, of the fiscal income of Hong Kong's government, it's 727 billion Hong Kong dollars in 2021. Revenue from land sales was 210 billion Hong Kong dollars. And so that's roughly 29%. And this does not include the real estate tax revenue. So if all of that is included, it can be as high as 40%. And there's a chart that shows the percentage of real estate related loans to the total outstanding loan balances, or balance, I should say, in Hong Kong by year. Here it is. Let me make this bigger. Oh, where is it? Yeah, here it is. Let me make this bigger. Here we go. So if you look at it from 2006 to 2021, it's about 50%. Right? So it's consistently around 50%. This means that 50% of Hong Kong's economy depends on real estate. And if real estate prices fall, the financial pressure will be immediately felt, and in the banking sector. And in fact, the real estate price has already fallen. The 2022 house pricing index Hong Kong government published was down 15.6%. And Hong Kong's richest man, Li Ka-shing, recently got media attention because he offered deep discount um, for one of his new development in Hong Kong. And the price that he offered, the per square footage price he offered, was the lowest since that we've seen in Hong Kong since 2016. So it's the lowest in 7 years. And the price that he offered is 30% lower than the prices that other housing units in the same area um, asked for. So 30% is significant. Um, Actually, Hong Kong's real estate prices have always been high. The market has been sluggish for years. The new chief executive, John Lee, his name, has promoted land acquisition in the northern metropolitan area. The Hong Kong government is constructing a large number of public housing units, which may be put up for sale in the next few years. And the development of this new metropolitan area will have an impact on Hong Kong's property market because the gravity of Hong Kong's commercial center will be shifted to the north. And the property prices in the formal commercial centers will go down. The other reason that people believe Hong Kong's real estate market will go further down is that Hong Kong is losing young people. The demand in real estate is waning when the city is shedding a large number of people. And this group of people are in their most productive years, who are the most likely home buyers. So let me talk about the second reason, which is Hong Kong's declining population and workforces. So if you compare the 2018 to 2022, total workforce in Hong Kong declined by 7%, from 3.8 million almost 3.9 million to 3.6 million. That's a drop of 274,000 people. But if you look at the population decline for the group that's between the age 20 and 40, there's a reduction of 266,000 people, and that's a 13%. So, and that's drastic. People between the age of 20 and 40 is really the most vibrant group of workforce, right? This is the group of people who will be most active in the real estate market as they start their career or start a family. And so it's alarming that the city is, has been losing this group of this group of population. And people believe that that's the number one reason why the workforce declined. There's overlap between the population drop, the population drop in the age group between 20 and 40, and the workforce. The overlap is the contributing reason. Of course, not everyone between the age of 20 and 40, is in the workforce, because there could be students, right? But for the most part, they overlap. So people say the reduction in workforce is attributable to the reduced population in the age group between 20 and 40, and that's alarming. Any economy to be losing that big percentage of a group, a young working force, is seriously concerning. Okay, so that's the second reason. The third reason believe it or not, is local government debt. We know local government debt is one of the biggest time bombs threatening Chinese economy in the mainland. The Hong Kong government had been able to balance its budget for the decades, for decades, I shouldn't say for the decade, for decades until 2019. However, since then, a budget deficit started. Let me show you the numbers. Here we go. So, this chart shows as far back as 2004, so for the period from 2004 to 2015, that's 15 years, the Hong Kong government was able to have a budget surplus that totaled 856 billion Hong Kong dollars. And that's for 15 years. And then from 2019 to 2022, the budget deficit of the 3 out of the 4 years totaled 402 billion Hong Kong dollars, erasing half of the budget surplus from the previous 15 years, right? And so 2023 could be, their fiscal year ends at the end of March. So 2022 is actually April 2022 to March 31st, 2023. So we won't see the 2023 number until next spring. It's not calendar year, it's fiscal year. So now the problem is the Hong Kong government debt also increased significantly as it cannot balance its budget. It has to rely on borrowing money to to be able to pay the bills. So its debt at the end of 2018 was 106 billion Hong Kong dollars, and it more than doubled by the end of 2022 to 219 billion Hong Kong dollars. And the bulk of the debt is due before 2025. It means that the Hong Kong government must have a revenue or a revenue surplus, a budget surplus of over $200 billion in less than 2 years before 2025, before the debt is due. Or it will face the same fate, a destiny, as the mainland Chinese local governments do, which is to always take out new loans or always take out new debt to pay back the old. So that's upcoming, right? So we will see that in a year or two to see if the Hong Kong government will be able to save itself from falling into the same debt trap as the mainland local governments do. Yeah. So it's said that the other point is the biggest asset that the Hong Kong government has is land. So unfortunately, I mean, if you compare the Hong Kong government to the local Chinese government, there's just so many similarities. Heavily rely on land and real estate, and now debt becomes inevitable part of their operation, and they're running up against falling real estate prices. So Hong Kong is quickly becoming more and more like mainland China from that perspective. That's the third reason. And then the last reason, let me just come back, because the last reason is the executive order signed by Joe Biden on August 9th that prohibits the U.S. Or any U.S. businesses, citizens, or residents from investing in sensitive high-end technology companies in China, such as AI, semiconductor, and quantum computing, will have a big impact on Hong Kong's economy. This executive order will be effective next year, but the order specifically lists Hong Kong and Macau in the scope of the sanction. This indicates that the United States is no longer treating Hong Kong differently from mainland as it did in the past. So in the past, the US sanctions against the CCP have always spared Hong Kong and Macau, which left the CCP with a buffer, or it had created this loophole in the system. Chinese military and other state-run organizations were able to set up shell companies in Hong Kong to obtain sensitive technology or products from the United States and other countries. China's secret import of strategic products, such as chips and aerospace technologies, all entered the mainland through Hong Kong. When the United States exclude Hong Kong, or include Hong Kong in the scope of the sanctions, it's difficult. Oh, sorry, I was going to say, when the US exclude Hong Kong from the scope of the sanction, it was difficult for the US to catch these Chinese entities that use Hong Kong, right, as a shell, to bypass the sanctions, because Hong Kong is the world's largest exporter of integrated circuits, the world's second largest exporter of mobile telephones, computer parts, and video. I think third largest exporter of video equipment. So the electronics industry is Hong Kong's largest and most profitable sector, accounting for 72.6% of its total exports in 2021. Parts and components account for about 3/4 of these, right? What happens to Hong Kong is it imports these parts and ship them to the mainland, and these parts are used are used by manufacturers in mainland China, and they're assembled and processed and then shipped to the rest of the world via Hong Kong again. So Hong Kong receives generous handling fees in this export trade. So the new executive order will stop certain cutting-edge high-tech products from reaching Hong Kong. And Hong Kong's export in the past 14, depending on how you look at it, there are a number of ports in Hong Kong. They have seen its export declining for 18 consecutive months, between 14 to 19 consecutive months. So exports for Hong Kong has been declining, and it's related to the export decline from the mainland. So, and there are many other reasons. For example, Hong Kong has lost its appeal as the largest financial center in Asia to Singapore, as more and more money are flowing to Singapore, right, instead of Hong Kong. But those people have already noticed that. But the 4 reasons that I gave, number 1 is the decline in the real estate. Number 2 is the fast decline in its workforce and young population. And the third is the government budget being in the red, and the local government has to rely on debt to keep paying the bills. And the last one is the executive order, the restriction on high-end technologies flowing through Hong Kong will further exacerbate the export decline in Hong Kong. So those are the 4 reasons that I want to summarize that will cause Hong Kong's economy to sink further. All right, so I try to cover 2 topics in one live stream. tell me how I did. They are both rather quick updates, or yeah, they're not as in depth, but I think they're relevant. So let me see if people have questions for me. All right. Um, all right. Hi, Sumilan. Welcome back. We didn't see you last time, but welcome back to help me coordinate everyone. Okay, let me see if people have questions for me. If you have questions, put my name in front so I know it's addressed to me. All right. Wow, there aren't questions for me. Uh, okay, well, there aren't any questions for me. Wow, that's easy. Well, someone said this one is from Lopek Lim. I Lei is just a shameless China haters, nothing but hostile and crude attack on China day in and day out. I think I'll have to laugh at that. I think people who follow my channel know no one cares about China and Chinese people more than I do, right? I'm just not a fan of the CCP, and I'm not the only one. All right. Let me see. Wow, there aren't questions for me. Did I really do that well? This is unbelievable. I don't think so. Um, Let me see. Mitsu, could Hong Kong and Shenzhen end up breaking away together soon with Shanghai soon? I feel like a CCP collapse is a matter of time now, seeing this report now. Yeah, the CCP collapse is I think, is a matter of time. But would Shenzhen and Hong Kong end up breaking away together with Shanghai? You mean as what? As autonomous region outside of China? I doubt it. I mean, Shanghai is Shenzhen and Hong Kong are becoming more and more integrated because people in Hong Kong like to go to Shenzhen for the weekend, because it's cheaper in Shenzhen, right? For food and entertainment. So people in Hong Kong like to go to Shenzhen. So the two, Shenzhen and Hong Kong, are becoming more and more integrated. But the but I don't see how they can break up and become their own region. It's because Chinese culture, people have asked me if I believe that China will disintegrate into a few independent kingdoms or republics after the CCP collapses. I personally don't believe that will happen because most Chinese still like to um, stick with each other. I think it's the glue that will bring them together is the Chinese culture. Um, so and then also the language. I tend not to believe that the Middle Kingdom will disintegrate into many smaller kingdoms. That hasn't happened for thousands of years, right? It has sort of always, I mean, China's map has changed, its border has shrunk and expanded, but for the most part, the country, the heartland of China, has not. I mean, is one country. So I tend to believe people will stick together as one nation. But that's just my opinion. All right. From Boy Kachina, thank you. Thank you. Hit like. I like that. Thank you. Umbrella movement. Well, we've seen quite a number of movements, right? The umbrella movement in Hong Kong, and then we have the white paper movement. We have, yeah. All right. Let me see. There aren't just that many questions addressed to me. Okay, from Texas Panda. Great job as always. Well, thank you. Thank you. Ed C. How will we ever know if there was a submarine accident? How will we ever know? In the past, the CCP has or did acknowledge submarine accidents in the past, but it just took them a long time to acknowledge that. I think after a full investigation and trying to figure out the political, after having balanced out all the political implications, the CCP will come out to announce that. So it's a matter of time. Although they will never give the real reason of the accident, they will just give a very general reason. Um, so, so I think it will have to address that. Um, it's a matter of time. Are you sure of the sub model H2S? Doesn't make sense. I did not give you the type of it is zero. It's called type 093. Type 093 Shang class nuclear powered submarine. Um, and I think North Korea recently got a similar submarine. And people saying that Kim Jong Un is concerned if now he's concerned about the quality of the submarine he got from China. So I, that's an interesting thought. Mm, and okay, from Godot, is Defense Minister reappear? Has he reappeared? No, he has not. Is his disappearance related to this? Possibly. From Jerome Waters, like, based on today's discussion, are we more likely or less likely to be in a war with China? It depends on how you look at it. I mean, this incident just shows in another chaotic state of the PLA, right? Whether it's internal organizational failure or procedural failure or technical failure, it just shows the lack of prudence, well, lack of preparedness, shall we say, for war. Some people say, when CCP steal so many cutting edge technologies from foreign countries without having a full grasp, of the technical specifications, and they just, put something together in a very crude manner, I should say, then without proper maintenance or developing proper procedure, right? Because these are highly sophisticated instruments, and without proper maintenance procedure, or I mean, things can go wrong. A tiny little piece, if one little thing goes wrong, it could cause a major disaster, and that's the scary thought behind the CCP, stealing so many technologies and just arbitrarily put them together. So that's one thought. And the other thought is the CCP is not an organization known for following orders, right? And they just cannot follow good procedures. So this could be a procedural disaster or technical disaster. And no matter how you look at it, the CCP is not prepared, or the PLA is not prepared for war. And all these chaos that we've discussed in the past week or so is another evidence of that. So that's one thought, right? And the other thought is, well, the more chaotic things become, the more intense internal political struggles will become. And when things get out of control, when the two sides fight intensely for control over the regime, and when it gets out of control, um, something can go wrong, and and Xi Jinping or somebody else could inadvertently hit the war button and start a war passively. So that's another thought. It wouldn't happen in a normal situation when people are rational, when a government follows normal procedure, in decision making. But CCP, they don't follow any rules, and so that's another worry. That's the worry that people have. So depending on how you look at it, it's really hard to tell. It can really go either way, right? If we follow normal logic, you would think that CCP will not start a war because you're not ready. But if you follow how ugly the internal political struggles can become, then just like two guys are engaged in a vicious fight, you don't know what will happen, and one of them could hit the war button. So that's my answer to the question. But that's a very good question. That's a question on many people's mind right now. Okay. XPS, like question, great insight. You mentioned that removing the Great Firewall would destroy the CCP. How specifically would it occur? What will post CCP China look like? Thanks. Technically, I don't know how technically to do that, but I know years ago, probably I would say at least 10 years ago. Yeah. There have been proposals submitted to US government about projects or initiatives that will allow that will give Chinese people more bandwidth to access uncensored information. And these projects are not like, we're not talking about tens of millions of dollars. I mean, we're not talking about like billions of dollars. They're affordable. I mean, for U.S. government, it's totally a small budget project, and the U.S. government turned the proposals down. I think instead they gave the money to do something that did not produce any results. Anyways, so I think you know, there are technologies that we can do this, and when this is done, it's not done like overnight. All of a sudden, like everyone in China can access the internet without any surveillance or monitoring. It's probably done like over stages. Um, I'm not a technical person to answer that question, but I can look into that. But there are more technical people, who can answer that question. What will the post CCP China look like? What do we want it to look like? I think what kind of China do we want to have? I think we want to have a democratic China that's run by rule of law. I think Chinese people um, should be reunited with their own culture, with their own heritage. So I think people should start talking about that, right? So yeah. All right, let's see. All right, okay. From Marty85, like you mentioned that Hong Kong tycoon who was selling his property at a significant discount. Were there any buyers? Yeah, there were people lined up. People responded to his discount very well. There were buyers. People, I don't know how many, but I saw pictures where people lined up to get the deal. It was quite significant. And the same tycoon also offered discounts for his properties in Beijing, I guess. Yeah. All right, Jerry Watson. The gas that killed the subcrew is a byproduct of solid fuel rocket motors that burn off stuck in the tubes. Something to think about. Yeah, I read that. So people are trying to find out. First of all, we don't know if that post was true. Like they were indeed killed by the gas, by the solid fuel, by that what is it? Hydrogen sulfide, right? But if it is, people are trying to figure out what happened, why that was the cause of death. Okay. Uh, from GK, does USA de-recognize Hong Kong dollar? De-recognize? You mean undervalue Hong Kong dollar? What do you mean by de-recognize? You mean not recognize Hong Kong dollar? I think Hong Kong dollar inevitably will become like renminbi. Right now it's pegged to US dollar, but because its economy is becoming more and more state controlled, and then yet it still has, I mean, technically the Hong Kong dollar is tradable, so it will be subject to uh, the fluctuation of people's confidence in the currency, right? Uh, and so the question is how much foreign reserves the Hong Kong central bank has to fight any war, to protect its currency when the outside world suddenly loses its confidence in the Hong Kong currency. And people are saying that it doesn't have a lot of foreign currency right now to be able to fight that war. And I've even seen people talking about, or maybe the Hong Kong government should start paying its employees in renminbi. But I think that would really be a suicidal act. It would really just kill the Hong Kong dollar. I think Hong Kong is really stuck. It it doesn't want to go back to. It doesn't want to become like mainland China because it still has to play certain role for the mainland economy, and yet all these restriction, all these CCP mandates has prevented it from continue to be a free um, uh, uh, a center of free trade, a financial center. So it's like, what is it? It has lost its identity. It's just struggling trying to find an identity, and so that's why it has lost its appeal. All right. All right, I think that's about it. Um, Bobby, Lei, can the nuclear submarine and the nuclear incident in the north be related? It's bizarre. Two different incidents happened at the same time. Oh, you're talking about the nuclear submarine incident and the radioactive haze people are suffering in Inner Mongolia are the same thing? I don't think so, because if you judging by the symptoms people are suffering in northern China, it's coughing, it's asthma, so it's some sort of a dust, right? It's some sort of radioactive dust that have kind of attacked their lung, and it's no that have caused this kind of symptom. I tend to think there are two separate incidents. They're both radioactive, or we don't know if the accident in the Yellow Sea is causing any radiation disaster or leakage. We don't know that, but we do know that. Um, yeah, we don't know that yet. So it's interesting that Taiwan chose not to say anything. I think well, it's common courtesy, I think the United States and Taiwan do not want to provoke the CCP at this moment. Xi Jinping certainly has his plate full at the moment, so I think they just choose not to say anything. Give them time to sort out the mess. I tend to believe that there's no radiation issues in the Yellow Sea. Otherwise, I think Taiwan would have to address it, right? Because it's environmental hazard. All right. That's all for tonight. I thank you for joining me. I don't know if this kind of format works for you. There are multiple subjects in one live stream. Each one is shorter. If you think this is a great format, let me know. Okay, I thank you for joining, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.